Well, this is a question from Johanna.
Yeah.
She would like to ask, is there a future for like the really large-scale businesses and organizations?
I think they are thriving more than anyone else right now.
Yeah.
And I'm not talking about in terms of employment, rather in terms of making money.
Yeah.
So they're really, the more money you have, the more control you can have in the future. And that's always been the case. So look at, in the Nordics, we have a company called Telia Sonera, which is one of the biggest telco providers in the world. And they just buy a lot of other smaller companies all the time, and they just grow and grow and grow, and they're going to be huge, and they're already huge. But I think that, as always in a capitalist society, there's going to be monopolization and big companies.
Yeah.
So even though it would be better with decentralization, having smaller companies, there will be the big companies that will benefit in the end.
Yeah, because you are really against all those Facebook, Twitter, like everything coming from the US. But then what if that's part of evolution too?
I think that for me, it's not a problem that it comes from the US per se. It's a problem that it comes from a country. It's always the same country, and it's a country with too much influence, and it's too centralized to the US.
Yeah.
It's not against the US, just because it's the US.
Yeah.
But definitely it's going towards that direction all the time, that these companies are, they are the ones with power because they always had power. So we're just shifting from the old power to just moving it to the internet and controlling a new thing.
Yeah.
So we really need decentralization of everything. But there's nothing really happening about decentralization. We're talking about it, but there's no real movement towards it. It's moving towards the other way.
Okay.
So the technology of the internet, which provides, the possibilities of it, is totally decentralized.
Yeah.
In terms of how it was created. That's the kind of the power. That's why we were talking about the internet being decentralized. But everything we use on top of the internet is super centralized. Just like all domain names in the world. If you go to your own personal webpage, even though it's in .nl, there's still the US Chamber of Commerce that can say no to that, because they own the service that provides the service to .nl.
Yeah.
So you have a totally centralized system, even on the domain name level, that goes for email, websites, everything. And all of the companies that you use for communication, like Gmail, Facebook, whatever, it's all in the same country with the same jurisdiction. And if not, they will buy it. If you have a new service, it's going to be bought by one of those companies, and you kind of just expect that. So I don't see the movement for decentralization. No. I only see the possibilities, and I see it as an advertising tool that people sell a decentralized service.
Oh.
But I don't see that happening.
But what if I would frame that like as meeting the new world, meeting the old values? That is like there is a new world building with this decentralization, but then like the old world puts its values, its centralization values on it, and then...
Yeah, so what has happened is that sorry for speaking like a communist, but you're taking the capital from the old world and putting into the new world, if you want to use those terms.
Yeah.
So definitely the capitalists are buying back the new technology. They're buying into all of these companies and centralizing everything to control them, because they understand, as a lot of people should do, that all of the money, all of the power comes from centralizing and having as much information and having as much control over information as possible.